the time.
Yeah.
And you don't think they perceive them as a solid physical?
I'd say it's secondary. They do
Secondary.
perceive our physical bodies as well, but the first thing they, the first thing they look at, the first thing they perceive is the energy.
And then, it's hard for us to think of it that way. We're used to looking at a physical person,
yeah, exactly,
or an object or something. They're seeing it differently.
Yeah, and just as their senses are so different from ours, if you take the example of a dog, and so much of their sensory input is in the form of smell.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And it's just beyond our comprehension. Dogs will tell you that they can smell color.
Smell color?
Yeah, that
I
colors.
wonder what that would be like.
Yeah, we don't have any, there's no way for us to comprehend it.
No words?
Yeah, And but colors have different vibrations, and
yes, that's
the dogs
true.
can smell that.
And people keep in the work I'm doing, they talk about hearing color.
Yeah,
So there's more to it. There's more perceptions, I guess, that we're not aware of.
Yeah. Do you feel this is getting into those other dimensions that our spirit guides talk about from time to time?
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, because I believe the cats especially, they're the ones I've had more contact with, that they can see into the other dimensions.
Yeah.
That they can see ghosts, for instance. Because I had an experience where I lived in a haunted house. I didn't have any choice. My husband was in Vietnam, so we stayed in this house, and we all knew there was a ghost upstairs because all the kids had seen strange things.
Yeah.
But it wasn't negative, so it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But at night, when I would be watching TV and the kids were in bed, our Siamese cat sat at the bottom of the stairs, staring up the steps, and his tail switching back and forth, the way they do when they're watching something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we all kept saying, he sees something up there.
Oh, absolutely.
After a while, it said, would you please stop that? Get on your nerves. So I've heard other people say that, too. They can see things we can't see.
Yeah, absolutely. And interdimensional creatures, if you want to put it that way, like fairies.
Oh, yes,
So they have all sorts of wonderful things to teach us.
But to them, this is natural. I guess
Yeah.
they think they perceive that as energy, too, like they would perceive a human. What do you think?
That's something I probably should take to Connery the cat and ask him to.
Say, how do you perceive these interdimensional things?
Yeah, absolutely. And I should tell you, one of Connery is always making me laugh. And one of the things that irritates the heck out of him is we have a tank full of goldfish, and my husband greets the goldfish when he comes home, and he talks to them and tickles them through the glass, and the cat is sitting there going, please, they are cat food.
Cat food.
Yeah, and one day I was teasing
pay attention to me.
Yeah, that was exactly it. It's, please, you can hug me, you can pet me.
It's
Forget
kind of
about
jealous,
the fish.
I think.
And he was sitting there on the table next to the fish tank, and I decided to tease him, so I went up to the fish and started petting them through the glass, and I looked at Connery and I said, see, aren't they sweet? And he looked me right in the eye, which does not happen often in communication. You don't usually get eye to eye.
Yeah.
But this time he looked me right in the eye, and I heard him say, I should think they'd be more salty than sweet.
A very subtle sense of humor.
Yes, he has a very dry.
Yes, and very literal.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think that's nice. We all think we can communicate with them. We know, they tell us when they're hungry. They tell us when they want to go outside, and things like that. But it's almost as though there is more to it if we open ourselves up to it.
Yeah, and we're doing it all the time, and it's just a matter of kind of stopping and realizing what we're doing. And what Connery says is that half the battle with humans is getting them to pay attention.
Yeah, we get so wound up in our own little world.
Yeah, and we drive the animals crazy with our constant thinking, and they tune us out most of the time.
Because they're picking up on our thoughts, you mean?
Yeah.
And our minds are too busy, I guess.
That's exactly right.
So they just tune us out.
Yeah,
Don't pay attention at all.
Now, well, sometimes we have to let them know that we are making an effort to communicate with them. I remember at a class I attended out at Spring Farm, one of the sheep told a student, "You wear us out with your thoughts." So
okay.
That kind of summed that up.
That would be the hard part. Humans have to slow everything down and get into a different space altogether, and that's hard for humans to do.
Right. What we need to do is meet the animals where they live, which is the present moment. That's, I'm sure you're familiar with the Power of Now book.
Oh yeah, and that's what it's coming through mine too. Is don't worry about the past lives and things like that. They're not important anymore. It's now and where we're going into the future.
Yeah,
that's what we got to focus on now. Is
yeah,
what I'm getting.
Yeah, well, we miss living in the present moment because we're so worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, and we're fretting about what we did or didn't do yesterday.
Yeah.
And to meet the animals, we have to be right here in the moment with them.
There's something I thought about. You were talking about the grieving, from the human point of view. But what about do you counsel with animals who are grieving? Or does that happen to an animal?
Yes, it does happen to them. I feel that they have a greater understanding that their companions are still with them in spirit, but they grieve the physical form just the way we humans do. There's a change, and they feel it just as much as we do.
Yeah. But do you have to work with any animals through that, or is it mostly the owners?
Usually working with the owner, a lot of time the grief is what the animal is reflecting back. It's the owner's grief, and that keeps the animal stuck in grief too. If one of the companions has passed. I also do some work with wonderful flower essences that are made by Sharon Callahan, an incredible, beautiful woman who lives at the foot of Mount Shasta. Oh. You would love her house, Dolores. You step out her back porch, and Mount Shasta is filling the sky.
Oh.
It's incredible.
Are these like the Bach flower remedies?
Yes, but they are made specifically for animals.
Oh, okay.
And her line of flower essences is called Anna Flora.
And what do you do with the essences?
Which, in this case that you were talking about, there is a bereavement essence, and she calls it bereavement formula, and you put a few drops in the animal's water every time you change the water.
Yeah.
And you can also take it yourself, since obviously you're grieving as well.
Yeah. What else can the essences be used for?
Just about any emotional problem or physical problems that stem from emotional.
What about behavior problems with animals?
The flower essences can be a tool to help animals through crises.
Because, some animals, they take them to the obedience schools and everything, and it doesn't do any good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have behavior problems.
Yeah, and sometimes if they can have their say through a communicator, that helps clear up the problems.
It's why they act up the way they do?
Yeah. And I have to come back to your example of animals grieving, because there is a wonderful story that somebody somewhere is going to write this for a book. I don't know if it'll be me or we'll get it in there somewhere, but I have clients in Omaha who have become dear friends of mine, and they had an incredible bulldog. He is no longer in the physical, but his name was Caesar. And the first time they called me, they were so worried about Caesar because he was having all sorts of anxiety, and he was cranky and totally unlike his usual lovable self.
Yeah.
And when it came out, he was grieving because his human grandfather had died.
Uh-huh.
And he felt very frustrated because the humans got to go to the funeral, and the humans all had closure, and he didn't.
Oh. But you don't think about an animal needing closure.
Yeah. You wouldn't, a lot of people wouldn't think of this. This is why it's such a wonderful example, and I'm glad you prompted me to remember this. I suggested to his people, and I was very proud of them because I don't know how many of my clients actually would have done this. I said, if you could hold a little funeral, a little ceremony for your father in the home so that Caesar can be there, so that Caesar can have his own little way of saying goodbye to his grandpa. And they did this for him. They sat on the floor. They lighted a candle for him. They had Grandpa's stuff on the floor, his clothing, his hat, and read poetry and talked about him with the dogs present.
You think the dog understood?
He understood at some level because what they told me is his behavior was very unusual because he grabbed one of the hats and shredded it. And he didn't normally do anything that destructive, but it was like he was getting all his frustration out. And then after that, he started to get back to his normal self. So to me, it was a very dramatic example of how animals need to grieve too.
Well, I think this is very good. Maybe this makes people try to look at their animals a little differently.
Yeah,
I'm watching the clock because I'm supposed to stop about 5 minutes till.
Okay.
Because when in the future they're going to be putting commercials in
right.
for 5 minutes. But just tell people how they can reach you.
They can find me through my website, which is www.animalshaman.com. That's animal, SHAMAN.com. And,
Animal Shaman, SCHAMAN.
No, it's just SHAMAN.
That's all in one word.
Yes, Animal Shaman. And my email is Karen@animalshaman.com.
Okay. And they can reach you with that if they have any questions about
Absolutely.
animals or about the classes.
I'd be happy to, if there's anything that I can try to explain or refer you to someone who can.
Okay, and like you said, if somebody wants to send you a photograph over the email, maybe you'll help you to concentrate and find the answers.
That helps a lot.
Would you rather them do this rather than call you?
Either way, they can phone me. Let's see, I guess you need my phone number too.
Okay, but just, listen, only if you want people to call you.
Well, it's on my website. And
okay.
So I guess everyone listening has web access, so you can find that on my website.
Most people do. They'd have to get the program.
That's right.
Okay, so anyway, they check on your website, animalshaman.com, and they can get your phone number.
That's right.
And you're willing to help anybody that's having any questions about animals or any problems.
Yeah, one problem that I don't specialize in is lost animals. I do refer to
animals?
I'm not very good with lost animals. I get so emotionally involved that I am useless.
I pick up their frustrations or something.
Yeah, just there's so much fear and emotion involved that I hope to work on that some in the future, but at this time I would refer people on.
Okay, so that's one thing you don't work on.
Not at this time.
If anybody else has any problems or anything they want to discuss with you, you'd be willing to have them contact you.
Absolutely.
Let's hope they do.
Okay, thank you so much, Dolores.
Okay, because we've come to the end of time now. Thanks for being my guest tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.